still got the trial going on. Boy, I'll tell you, watching this, what a scripted drama show this is, huh? I'll tell you what, when you watch and you realize how fake all this is and how scripted it all is, it's just ridiculous.
I read on it, they're fucking masonry and I couldn't fucking see. Hands off it.
To the Capitol to hunt
Look at this.
down.
This, just real quick, so you know, this is a black American Democrat. You want to talk about ignorant? Right there. That right there tells you this woman here is as thick as ignorant as a damn rock. She's black American in the Democratic Party, defending the Democratic Party. This shows you the level of ignorancy that exists. And everyone's okay with this. No one has a problem with this, because the majority of people that don't understand what I'm saying don't understand why I would say she's ignorant as a rock. But here's the deal that people seem to be not understanding in relation to this. Okay, I'm listening to the spiel of this crap. I'm listening to this scripted, and I'm not scripted. I'm telling you the truth. One, I was there. I see what happened. I seen what happened at the Washington. I was there January 6th. And I'll tell you who's at fault of this was Mike Pence. Not Donald Trump. And insurrectionists, they weren't insurrectionists. They were the American people. What people don't realize, and I've said this before, is that I'm going to try and pull this up here. What I'm looking for here is I want to show that people don't seem to be aware that there wasn't only just an attack and a taking by the American people on the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Americans had taken up capitals across the country in almost every state. This was an uprising, national uprising by the American people, not insurrectionists, by the American people. I'm just trying to find it here. All right, well, they title this Trump supporters take state capitals across the states, right? This is what they want to title it. But it's more that it's not just Trump's. It was Americans, just straight up Americans. They got this news buried because they don't want people to find it. Right here they got like state capitol protests, state by state. Right here is a, you know, they put pro-Trump demonstrators swarm state capitals across U.S. forcing evacuations in 2 states. See, people aren't aware. This was an uprising. You want to know what it was and why it all happened at the same time and who set it off? Mike Pence. Okay? Let me tell you something. The talk and the buzz of this going on for months before this happened across this nation, out in the public of what I heard and what I witnessed, was that many people in relation to seeing the divisiveness and the failure of this government, people are fed up and disgusted because this government is so infested with corruption, it's unbelievable, just disgraceful. Her live video's been interrupted. But it's disgraceful. And what it is that the government itself in this whole thing is failing to take accountability for its responsibility. They want to blame the American people who uprose because they're sick of a treasonous, corrupt government that has done nothing but rip the American people off now for decades, do nothing but literally be complicit with foreign enemies of this country. The government itself is responsible now for over 500 Americans being killed right here on our own American home ground because of their disgusting, corrupt greed and taking payoffs from the totalitarian foreign Islamic states, and where they allow these people to come into our country knowing that they have been practicing, preaching since the founding of this country they want to kill Americans. The Islamic Muslims were the first people to ever attack Americans and kill Americans on our own home ground. And the Democratic establishment has been aiding and assisting these people in coming into our country, knowing they were coming here to target and murder and kill Americans. They know it. And over 5,000 Americans since 2001 have been killed right here in our home nation by that of foreign totalitarian Islamic Muslims, being allowed in, aided and assisted by them of the Democratic Party. These people know for a fact that, and they've been doing it because of the money that flows in, the corruption. They've been selling them political seats within the federal government, the state level government, local county commission government, across our nation, allowing them into our Department of Education, our social programs, you name it. And they've been trying to indoctrinate that of the American posterity to that of totalitarian, socialist, communist Muslim states, their ideology, and they're doing it. And it's been aided and assisted by the Democrats. They know the level of complicit treason that they have committed. The failure in this nation is not the American people who are rising up. It's this corrupt, disgusting, and look at this lady, a black American woman defending and in the Democratic Party. You want to talk about an ignorant as a rock idiot? That right there is an ignorant as a rock idiot. Right there. And no matter what this woman says to me, I would not trust a bit of judgment from this woman, and nobody should, because she's an ignorant damn fool. Anybody who knows the truth of the Democratic Party and looking at this has to realize this woman is as ignorant as a damn rock to the truth of anything involved with anything going on right now. This is the same idiot woman who spoke out in favor of the Islamic Muslims trying to against Trump's ban on the Muslims. What Trump was trying to do was protect this nation against a known and long-established declared enemy, of which this idiot right here, as well as all the rest of the black Americans in our government who are just as dense as a goddamn rock as her, in defending the Islamic Muslims, have no clue in realizing that it was the Islamic Muslims in 640 AD who invaded North Africa and enslaved and started the black African slave trade. The Muslims started it. And for near 1,200 years, up to the founding of America, they were the ones in charge of and exercising the black African slave trade. All that time, 1,200 years before America existed. The majority of all black African slaves sold to the British kings that were imported here to America to labor Great Britain, the kings of Great Britain's farming districts in the South, were purchased from the Islamic Muslims. In this very day today, the Islamic Muslims still sell black African slaves in the open trade markets because it's legal under Islamic Sharia law, slavery. And I'm not lying to you. I'm gonna pull up and show you something right now to show you how ignorant. Because truth is worth a thousand words, right? Truth is worth 1,000 words. So let's go here and look. Islamic. Hold on here. I gotta work this. Just give me a minute, people. This is all ad-libbed. But I know the facts here. Okay, here you go, right here, right? These are, I want you to hear this if, after this commercial, skip this.
The United Nations says growing numbers of African migrants passing through Libya are being sold as slaves by traffickers or militia groups before being held for ransom. The UN's migration agency interviewed West African migrants who told of being bought and sold in garages and car parks in the southern city of Sabah.
Now, so you understand, you see I'm not lying. This is the Islamic Muslim states. They literally still have slave trade because it's legal under Sharia law. The ignorance of these people that don't seem to understand, like this ignorant fool right here. This woman has no idea of the truth of what I'm speaking about, because you know what? She's an ignorant, probably an affirmative action idiot, okay? Because any black American who knew the history and the truth of history would definitely not be a Democrat, would definitely not be supporting Muslims. But the failure of this government, and because of idiots like this, is why we're failing. People don't know the truth. They don't understand the government they represent. They don't understand the ideology, the history behind this nation, or where they are as Americans in this nation, or what they're doing and who their enemies are. This is just the complicity of the idiocy in this country right now. But this is what's going on. I don't know what's happening with this video here. It appears that her live in her feed is, here it goes.
And we all have our individual experiences forming their.
But anyway, what I'm saying is this is insane. Let me tell you what the real problem is, America. The problem is not the American people who are uprising. The American people are uprising because of 5 decades, 50 years of ongoing, a long train of abuses, overreach, corruption, and treason by this entrusted body of government on both sides. The Democratic Party, for the majority, is guilty of the acts of committing treason. They've been aiding and assisting enemies and being able to come in a position in their own nation to indoctrinate that of the American posterity and that of foreign totalitarian and communist socialist ideology. And they've been aiding and assisting these enemies, the Democrats. Not only that, they've been aiding and assisting them coming into the country, well knowing, full knowledge that they want to come here to kill Americans. They know that. And they have been accountable now for killing over 5,000 Americans right here on American home ground in the last 20 years. Unprecedented within our 244-year history. Unprecedented. And all because of the idiocy of the Democrats. Though they want to claim they're going to claim, oh, we didn't know. They didn't know that the first 4 administrations of this nation, under the administration of George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison, all declared the Islamic Muslims of the totalitarian Islamic regimes the enemies of America and the American people. Because back then, due diligence showed that under their culture and ideology, it was their mission to kill all non-Muslim people in the world or force them, by force or threat of death and terrorism, to convert and submit to that of the Islamic rule over them. This was their goal. And that Thomas Jefferson and all of them became aware. This was, and I tell you what, I got proof. I'll show you right here something. I'll show you right here. This was a letter from George Washington himself. And what George Washington thought about the Islamic Muslims. He said, would to the heavens we had a navy able to reform those enemies to mankind and crush them into non-existence. Or crush them into non-existence. This is what George, our founding president, after understanding the reality of the threat of these totalitarian regimes to the American continent, of our nation and the American people, his goal would be that if we had a navy to crush these people into non-existence, wipe them off the face of the earth. Now, when we look at here, I'll show you in another. Right here, Thomas Jefferson, okay, he literally, in his understanding later in years, this is under the rule of James Madison, because in the beginning, Jefferson was a little bit ignorant to this because he didn't know, but this is now after he got an interpreted Quran and was speaking with a Persian that James Madison had retained to help him understand why the Islamic Muslims were attacking us. This was in a letter to the ambassador answered us. Jefferson wrote that it was written in their Quran that all nations who should not have acknowledged their authority were sinners, that it was the right and duty to make war upon them wherever they could be found, and to make slaves of all they could take as prisoners. So understand, what I'm telling you is the God's honest truth. I'm not exaggerating, I'm not lying. These people of the Islamic States have been long established and known enemies of the United States. And the Democrats, I don't care what anybody says. It's not that they're ignorant and don't know this fact of history. They don't care, because you know what? The longest standing enemy to the United States of America is the Democrats. The Democratic Party was founded out of the British loyalists, who were the Tories, the Kingsmen. They were against the United States and the Patriots since the very beginning. They were known as the British loyalists. We fought them in a civil conflict at the same time we were fighting Great Britain. It was the British Tory, who were the majority of slaveholders in this nation, that formed the pro-slavery Democratic Party in 1828. Okay, and then not even now, after 1828, some 33 years later, it would be the same Democratic pro-slavery party who would initiate and cause the Civil War when they formed the Confederate slave states and attempted to overthrow the constitutional free republic of the United States of America. This is the facts, people. It was the Democrats who formed the KKK. It was the Democrats who formed the Knights Laborers Union. It was the Democrats with Woodrow Wilson in 1950 attempted to exterminate and wipe out all black communities across this country with the Ku Klux Klan. It was FDR in 1934 who allowed for the first mosque to be built in this country in an effort to divide the American white and black Republicans by allowing the Nation of Islam to indoctrinate the black people with lies that their former ideology was Islam, which is a lie. That's a lie, because one, under Sharia law, it's illegal for the Muslims to sell any Muslim, even a black Obeid Muslim, as a slave. And they were the ones selling all the slaves to the kings of Great Britain to ship here. They couldn't have sold them if they were slaves. They were just innocent tribal people, or Jewish or Christian, because that was the primary faith. They were Christian and Jewish before America even existed. Christianity was founded on that continent. And the African people who were not tribal either were Jewish or they were Christian. And some who was actually even over to India is Hindu or Buddhist. I mean, this is just crazy that people don't know this truth. It's just insane. But like I say, now these people, think about this. Since 9/11, which she wants to bring up, the horrors of 9/11, right? Ignorant black American woman, so stupid, representing, defending the Democratic Party and also the totalitarian Islamic Muslim regimes who caused 9/11. This idiot defended them, okay? And now she wants to come here and play like she's got some kind of drama skit story from her little book writing expo that she's done to this script that she's got. As if, like, I mean, just look at this. Just look at this and listen. You can see how fake this is. Just watch her.
Constitutional duties, presiding over the election certification, and they were put in danger.
As you can see, everything's just written down for her. She has no idea what she really wants to say. There's no real heart in this. There's no real soul. This is just a written out, planned script of selected, cherry picking, and a storytelling of a mythical thing that is just being put together to meet their agenda of idiocy. Complicit idiocy here. Look at this.
Danger. Because President Trump put his own desires.
Look at this fake drama. This is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Are people really buying this? And if you look, you want to know what the problem is, lady? You want to know why the people were upright? You and this whole corrupt, disgusting, freaking ignorant government who has done nothing but rip the American people off for decades, act in corruption and treason in this country, work complicitly with the known and declared enemies of the United States, getting thousands of Americans killed right here on our home ground, putting a threat that of the American people here today and that of our American posterity tomorrow, which are our children and grandchildren. Because you no good, worthless, disgusting scumbags of a bunch of treasonous government, ignorant people and fools who act, and the Democrats just do this because they've been wanting to destroy this country since this country was founded. The Democratic Party is nothing to do whatsoever with the American Party. They have nothing to do with patriotism or Americanism. The Democratic Party was a party founded in 1828 to overthrow the United States of America in an attempt to establish their own government of a pro-slavery government that would overthrow the constitutional free United States government. And it's a fact because they actually caused the Civil War of 1861, and where they attempted to overthrow the constitutional free republic of the United States of America. They caused the Civil War of 1861. It was the Democrats who formed the Confederate slave states. People don't seem to remember this. I know true Americans remember it. Those who are concerned about that know their true history, people who are real Americans know this, but obviously a large majority of ignorant, stupid fools like this woman don't have a clue. Don't have a clue what I'm saying. They're ignorant as a rock. They don't even know. And when to somebody like me that's watching when I realize how stupid and how dense as a rock this person is, and then yet she's the one who and you don't think the Democrats are loving this, because let me tell you, they are complicit with our enemies. These people have been committing treason now for all of the last 160 years since the Civil War. Okay? Let me tell you right now, too, I don't care what anybody says. I got a video set I'm going on. I'm going to prove all these things. People who right now the Democratic Party wants to claim as our allies, China, the United Kingdom, Islamic Muslims, let me tell you something. It's been long established and declared by many administrations prior of that of known fact that these people are not our allies. They are our enemies. They have always been our enemies. And the Democrats have always been in a line and an allegiance with that of Great Britain. Because you know what? They are still practicing that of the Tories, of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. I don't care what anybody says, and you can't say it's not true. When you look even as early as back as 2010 when Robert Byrd, who was a Klan recruiter out of Virginia, this is a known fact, Bill Clinton, Democrat, two-term president, trying to defend Robert Byrd's stint in the Ku Klux Klan. The reason what he said, you know what, I'm not even going to say it, I'll just pull it up. This way here, there's no questioning. Let's go here and look at Bill Clinton defending Robert Byrd. And then you get a gist of what I'm saying in reality here. I don't like to just do like this, lady. And I'm talking from the heart here. I'm talking from reality. I'm talking from what I know, not some script. And I'm going to pull up the evidence to support what I'm saying that proves by fact, not a bunch of cherry picking like she does. I'm going to let them tell you in their own words. You look at right now, you have these Democrats talk about all the issues with slavery, and they want all the statues they want to remove. They don't even realize, these dumb idiots, that the statues of the Confederacy they're removing are Democrats. How stupid are they, right? How stupid. They're the Democratic Party. But here, let's take a listen to Bill Clinton defending.
Why should you not be?
Mind you, this is Robert Byrd, a known Ku Klux Klan major recruiter, the longest sitting Democratic senator in American history. And this is in 2010 when the guy died. And this is Bill Clinton talking about him, praising him at his funeral. So here, let's take a listen.
For you as he could. As far as he was concerned, there was no such thing as too much for West Virginia. But the one thing he would not do, even for you, is violate his sense of what was required to maintain the integrity of the Constitution and the integrity of the United States Senate, so that America could go on when we were wrong as well as right.
Let me tell you something. Since the Civil War is 160 years of nothing but the Democrats being wrong. They were nothing but treasonous terrorists in this nation for the last 160 years, and clearly still are to this very day. And what he's talking about is a man here who was in the Ku Klux Klan all his life, major recruiter. And he was best friends with Lyndon B. Johnson from the 1965 presidential election, who was vice president who took over for John F. Kennedy after they killed Kennedy. Lyndon B. Johnson himself was a Klan member out of Texas. FBI files relating to the John F. Kennedy assassination proved this by FBI records and files. So I just want to let you know. All Democrats.
So we would never be dependent on always being right. There are a lot of people who wrote these eulogies for Senator Byrd in the newspapers, and I read a bunch of them. And they mentioned that he once had a fleeting association with Ku Klux Klan. And what does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. He was a country boy from the hills and hollows of West Virginia. He was trying to get elected.
So pretty much what Bill Clinton is saying, if you want a better chance of getting elected in the Democratic Party, your chances are greatly increased if you're in the Ku Klux Klan. And the black American ignorant idiots are okay with this, right? You're a Democrat. You're okay with that, right? You're okay that your currently two-term president, and his wife was the last uprunner. And right now, you know what? Another person who praised Robert Byrd, the Klan member, so now that you understand he was a Klan member, right? Let's take a look at this. Just right here, you get a gist of what I'm saying here. This is,
as also known to Robert C. Byrd.
This is current President Joe Biden praising Ku Klux Klan member Robert Byrd. And let me tell you something that I know. When you read the Quran, that's the K-L-R-A-N, Quran, the Ku Klux Klan book, like Quran, like Muslims have Quran, they have a Quran. The rules state that when you're addressing that of a senior like member, like a Grand Poobah or Grand Wizard or whatever these crazy people do in their organization of the Ku Klux Klan, that you refer to them as your leader. So just remember that. You refer to senior members of the Klan as leader, okay, as leader. So I just wanted to make that clear because that's a rule. That's a rule of order of respect.
Was a parliamentary library, a keeper of the institution of the Senate, and he was the institution itself. But to me, and many people here today, like guys I see, Bill Bradley and Jim Sasser, who long left the Senate for greener pastures, and I hope better remuneration. Used to kid about that too, but for a lot of us, he was a friend, he was a mentor, and he was a guide. As also,
so you know he's a mentor and a guide. This is the current saying of a Ku Klux Klan member out of Virginia. One of the longest sitting Democratic senators and longest sitting Ku Klux Klan. This guy was high ranking by the time he died, and there's no way he could get out because again in the Quran, if you read the rules, there was no way. If Robert Byrd only had one way out of the Klan because they have the same rules as like the Islamic Muslims, and that rule is that there's only one way out. That's you get killed. That's it. When you know as much as Robert Byrd or Lyndon B. Johnson or Joe Biden, there's only one way out of the Klan, and that's you get killed. Now, he would have been in the same Klan in Pennsylvania he would have been in the Pennsylvania Klan, Joe Biden, and he was. He was a Klan member out of Pennsylvania, Joe Biden himself. And Robert Byrd was in the Klan in Virginia, and Lyndon B. Johnson was in the Klan in Texas. Hillary and Bill Clinton are at a Klan in Arkansas. I'm telling you the truth right now. There's pictures of them when they were younger in their Klan uniform. They claim it was a party picture for Halloween, but if you buy that, you're as ignorant as that woman that's talking right now. But I'm just saying, this is the reality of what is going on. And so you just understand what I'm saying is a fact. And then other facts, like which we can look at, well, I just want to go back to this.
Own need for power over his duty to the Constitution and our democratic process. President Trump.
This is like watching a high school kid doing a book report up on stage for like maybe a trophy or something. This is what this reminds me of. It's like a high school kid. There's no real in here. There's like no real anger. There's no real emotion. There's no real personality. This is just a bot reading, script reading, ignorant, obviously ignorant fool who's just in here playing her role, doing her part, and has no clue of reality of what the hell. She's just an affirmative action educated freaking paper brain idiot, in my opinion. And that's the way I see it.
Put a target on their backs, and his mob broke into the Capitol to hunt them down.
Oh, so dramatic. What about the 5,000 Americans that have been killed as a result of the treasonous acts of the Democratic Party, allowing a known and long-established declared enemy of the United States and the American people access into our country where they could literally kill those Americans? What about right now the tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of Americans across this country whose freedom and liberty right now are at stake because of the treasonous acts of the Democratic Party? What about all the violations of the freedom of speech right now that we see going on? The deterioration and decay of our constitutional rights and our republic, which is now a banana republic due to the Democratic Party, and the ignorant, no good, disgraceful Republican Party of nothing but a bunch of worthless goddamn cowards who sit silent and allow all this because they're ignorant themselves. They don't even know themselves. You know, you listen to these people, and I'm going to try and find something while I'm talking to you. You listen to these people, and then they sit there. The Republicans sit there quietly. I'm trying to find something here from a woman who is speaking. I'm just looking for something. Like I say, this is all ad-libbed. So I was trying to find something where the script thing was go. I got another video where it shows this, the Democrats talking about how the Republicans have to be purged from society, removed from society, that we're a threat, this, that, and everything. And their democratic democracy is that threat. That's the other thing of the idiocy. Democratic democracy. We are not a democratic democracy. We are a republic. And people don't understand this. I guess I can go to that and I'll show that real quick. In the Constitution of the United States only consents to that of a Republican form of government. You could search the entire Constitution. You won't find democratic or democracy mentioned anywhere in the Constitution, but you will find republic. You will find Republican, because Republican is the only authorization of government that's guaranteed in the United States. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show it to you. Sorry, this is all just I just came on here to vent about what I'm watching with this idiocy, and I don't have much of what I'm just flowing along with it, and I don't have it up to be prepared for it. But we're going to go here, and it's in Article 4, Section 4. I guess we could just search here for Republican, and we'll find it. There we go. Right here, Article 4, Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislator or the executive when the legislator cannot be convened against domestic violence. Now, this is a fact. You see, the Constitution only consents to that of a republican form of government. Every state is guaranteed it. That's because the Democratic Party and the Democratic administration was never a part of America. Like I said, they were formed in 1828 as a treasonous traitor party that was formed as a pro-slavery party to protect slave owners' rights and expand slavery against that of the will of the Constitutional Republic of the Free United States. They wanted slavery. And in 1861, they were the ones who formed a Confederate slave state, elected their own president, Jefferson Davis, drafted their own constitution, formed their own army, and committed treason in an attempted overthrow of the Constitutional Republic of the Free United States in 1861. These people were traitors to this nation, and they've always been traitors to this nation. And they still are, clearly, traitors to this nation because they're aiding and assisting known and long-established declared enemies of this nation to come into our nation, to take up positions in our government, to indoctrinate that of American posterity with that of a foreign totalitarian ideology, and to literally kill Americans on our own home ground. And then these people, literally these people, within this government, like this idiot here, has the nerve to come on national TV with her affirmative action, obviously, career of idiocy, because she's an idiot. Obviously, this is a black American woman defending the Democratic Party, has no clue what she's really saying, no passion in what she's saying. This is all script reading, like a high school. Doesn't she remind you of like a high school girl sitting up on stage reading some kind of book report? Let's watch her. Look at this. It's like, watch every second. She has no idea what she's saying. She's got to look down.
We will not back down. Here's Barnett in his own words. They terrorize her staff.
See her look down?
Again, that is a mob that was sent by the President of the United States.
Look down.
To stop the certification.
This is a book report read. This is like a high school kid reading a book report in high school. This is ridiculous. And it's not truth. It's just a written narrative to what they want you to believe is the truth. The Democrats' motto is like Joe Biden says, they choose truth over facts. Her facts are nothing but twisted propaganda of bullshit lies. And I'm sick of this because this is what goes on all the time. This is the way they campaign. This is the way they debate. This is the way now they conduct trials. This is the way they go on. They just pitch this out because they know, and it's sad to say, it's the God's honest truth, the majority of people in this country, of both Democrats and Republicans, are just self-serving, ungrateful, ignorant, coward people who don't even know the reality and don't even care. And most of them will just buy this because they don't even know what's going on. They don't even know. They really don't have a clue. And they're so complicit as sheep, they actually believe this because, a large majority of that population of the Democrats are stuck within the Democratic-controlled cities and districts, which are nothing but overrun ghettos of crime and drugs and poverty. And, I mean, these people are lack of proper education. They don't even get a proper education because they have such failing school systems and a high illiteracy rate. These people don't know what she's talking about, if it's true or not. They don't have a clue. So these are the people that are pitching this bullshit through the social media of the news outlets and everybody who's entertaining this idiocy. When you got that, all this is all being controlled by that 1% of the major wealth who controls the media companies and obviously our government. And they're all just looking to cover each other's back. They're so against Donald Trump and they're so against the American people who are rising up because they know that if the investigation is really going to dig deep, it's going to find the corruption. It's going to find the treason. It's going to find that this political establishment and Democrats are responsible for the death of over 5,000 Americans killed right here on American home ground and tens of thousands of Americans killed in foreign proxy wars that took place out of their greed. It goes back even as far as like the Charlie Wilson War. I couldn't believe when I seen the Charlie Wilson War. You ever see that movie, Charlie Wilson War? The Democrat, they made the movie about him and made this guy out to be like a hero. He was a goddamn arms dealer, selling American munition arms from our military to foreign totalitarian Islamic terrorist Muslims and instigating proxy wars between the Muslims and Russia over there. And they made this guy out to be a hero with Hollywood in the movie theaters. I mean, it's unbelievable if you know the truth of what I'm talking about. It's unbelievable. It's just totally unbelievable. When you realize in World War II, the Democratic parties were all on board. Hitler admired them. FDR would not condemn Hitler because he agreed with Hitler. And it's just people don't even know these facts. And these people have twisted the history like you wouldn't believe with lies, just blatant lies. And like right now, they talk about that when they focus on the Republicans, I can't believe they got away with trying to focus at the Republicans and raise issue about the Confederate statues as if it was something to do with the Republicans when every Confederate statue is a freaking Democrat. But yet, that's what I'm saying, how dense and stupid people are. No one even knows this. No one even knows and realizes that the entire Confederate establishment was established by the Democratic Party, the pro-slavery Democratic Party, was the Confederate slave states in the Civil War of 1861. They were the Democrats. It was a war between Democrats and pro-slavery Democrats and anti-slavery Republicans. Get real. Somebody read a goddamn history book, will you? I mean, this is a fact. And then they associate the Republicans with the Ku Klux Klan. You know, I'm going to show you something right now. Let's just go right here. Watch this. KKK members. Let's see what we get here. KKK members of our U.S. government. Let's see what we get here. I know Hugo Black should be in there. Lyndon B. Johnson. I guarantee you Robert Byrd is in there. There's no doubt in my mind Robert Byrd's in there. Let's take a look and see what we got here. Here we go. Hugo Black. You know who Hugo Black is, right? They try to claim that there was a party switch with FDR, right? The one. FDR appointed the first Ku Klux Klan member to the Supreme Court in 1934. Hugo Black. That's him right there. Klan member, Hugo Black. And this right here, member of the Senate right here, Theodore B. Democrat, Robert Byrd. There's Robert Byrd, the guy I was talking about, major recruiter out of Virginia, Robert Byrd. You see, these are all Klan members. All of them, Democrat. Now, this guy right here, Rice, when you look at Rice means, it says Republican. He's a rhino. Now, let me explain to you what a rhino is. Most real Republicans know what that is. It means Republican in name only, rhino. And what it is the Democrats will have one of their members play like what right now Mike Pence. Mike Pence is a rhino. He used to be a Democrat, and he came over to the Republican Party to infiltrate the party to give the opposition a voice on the Republican side. Kind of like what Mitt Romney's doing. All of them. Like here, I can show you. Here's a good example of a rhino. I can show you from my page. I got a nice thing I'll show you right here. Give you a good example of what a rhino looks like. Right here. Here you go. Look at this. Right here. See? There's a rhino. Look, Nancy, another rhino trophy. Just pull my string and I sing. See, that's a rhino Republican. He's now a Biden Republican. If such a thing could absolutely be. These are the people that you find when you look through this list of KKK members that are said to be Republicans. They're Republicans in name only. They're rhinos. They were originally Democrats. They converted to the Republican Party just to be a voice in the opposite side. They're not true Republicans. They couldn't be. Because no true Republican would ever be a Democrat. Okay, but look here, Democrat. See, the Ku Klux Klan is the Democrats. Nobody, go look at it yourself, people. Look, I'm showing you. Democrat. You don't see this? Democrat. I mean, get real. Just get real. Why don't people wake up and understand the reality of what I'm saying? And understand, like I say, look at, these are modern day pictures. This is Robert Byrd, the Ku Klux Klan guy. Senator Robert Byrd was a Kleagle. He was a Kleagle in the Klan. A Klan recruiter in his 20s and 30s. So this guy, now mind you, I'm going to tell you right now, if you look up the rules on the Ku Klux Klan, okay, now if you join the Klan and you're in there for like a summer or something like that, and you don't really know yet what's going on, you ain't done nothing, you ain't been initiated to know anything of really importance, and you want to get out, they'll probably let you go, they don't care. But when you're in there for a decade or 2 decades, and you're rising up to levels where you got like special titles like Kleagle, okay, And there's initiation processes if you do your due diligence on research. Robert Byrd, in my understanding, the same as Lyndon B. Johnson, and the same as even Joe Biden, would have had to be to reach the ranks they have in the Ku Klux Klan. They would have had to have been witnessed in their time of becoming in the Klan. They would have had to have been witnessed either beating to death or lynching a black American man. Or woman, or child even. Didn't matter. But that was one of the rules. This way they had a crime on them that would show their allegiance and their devotion and dedication forever. Because once you're in at that level, you're in forever. There's no getting out unless you die. They'll kill you. That's the only way out. So all this talk about Robert Byrd quit the Klan and Lyndon B. Johnson quit the Klan, that's a lie. These people never left the Klan. They couldn't. They were in too deep. And if they did leave the Klan, they would have been shot. They would have been shot and killed. You see, but this guy, like I say, he just died from natural causes in 2010. And he's still being praised by the Ku Klux Klan of the Democratic Party. I'm not making this stuff up. You can see it. It's a fact. Just look. Go look at where I'm at right here. You can look. This is even their Wikipedia, which is nothing but a left-leaning liberal crock of lies. But, I mean, they got everybody here, even in this, because they can't even deny this truth. Everybody knows it. There's FBI files that verify it. The majority of all political administrations within federal, state, county, and city districts of FBI members are Democrats by the FBI files themselves. This is a known fact, people. But yet, like I say, the ignorance within this political establishment is just like, in the people of America is just like, I don't get how they get it. The Republicans were the anti-slavery people. And then when you bring up things like this too, these Democrats will try and say, oh, well, wait a minute, there was a party switch. There was a party switch. They have this myth, that mythical thing that there was a party switch. The Democrats became Republicans and Republicans became Democrats. So that would mean that the Republicans now stand against the values and principles. They say it was FDR. Then they say it was Lyndon B. Johnson. When you prove it wasn't FDR by his act of appointing Hugo Black, the Ku Klux Klan member, to the Supreme Court, allowing the totalitarian regime with Fard to come into the nation and divide the white and black Republicans, and the FBI file that proves all this, then they're like, okay, it wasn't FDR, it was Lyndon B. Johnson. Okay, it was Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ. So that's they say 1965 civil rights movement. But then now, like I say, we know from Lyndon B. Johnson, FBI records show that he was a Klan member out of Texas. Here, I'm telling you these things. I'm just going to pull it up and show you. We'll look at it because I know this is a FBI file, LBJ Klan member. This is an actual FBI open. Here it is, right? 7 things. Okay, let's see if it's here. Pretty sure it should be here. Just give me a minute, we'll find it. Memo dated. This right here might have been it. Nope, that's not the one. Maybe this one. No, but this one has some good, interesting information about him as well. But we're looking. I think it's this one here. Yep, here it is. Okay, if you look right here, if you look at the bottom, it says Ned Touchstone, editor of The Counselor, has been identified by a confidential informant as a member of the original Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. The source advises in December 1963 that Touchstone claimed that the Klan had a documented proof that President Johnson was formerly a member of the Klan in Texas during the early days of his political career. So understand, I'm not lying to you. This is an FBI file of fact, and there's a lot more evidence than that even that supports the facts of what I'm trying to tell you. People just don't seem to be aware of this. They don't do their due diligence. But like I say, so Lyndon B. Johnson couldn't have been the party switch. And then too, if Lyndon B. Johnson, I can prove Lyndon B. Johnson was a party switch. I've done this in other videos the same way. Some people who may be seeing this in the other videos will be like, God, this guy says the same thing over and over. Understand this, the truth does not change. So yeah, it's going to be repetitive. But we're going to go and check out Snoop's. I'm just going to, LBJ says he will. Okay, we're going to look for Snoop's. Here we go. This is the one I want to look at. I'll show you here. Take that down, bring it over here. Here we go. We got Snoop's, right? Am I here? Yeah. Okay, so this is Lyndon B. Johnson. On Snoop's, they have a thing that says, he says, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for 200 years. Snoop says this is unfounded. It's not proven. Because they don't have it actually on video. It's only in script that people and witnesses who said they heard him say it. But there is underneath actual evidence of recorded conversation with transcripts of things he did say. And one of them here, now this is the point, my point. If FDR was the party switch, mind you, we know that under Woodrow Wilson, right, in 1915, that Woodrow Wilson, in 1916, he supported Margaret Sanger's extermination plan. Like she said, we don't want word to get out to the Negroes that we want to exterminate them. That was the real plan of Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood. Woodrow Wilson supported her, and the Democrats supported her greatly. So did FDR, and as we know today, who supports Planned Parenthood? Margaret Sanger? The Democrats still support them, right? So understand that this is what I'm trying to say. Democrats, and then we know too that the Knights Labor Union was founded in 1869, and that was the Knights Labor Union was founded by the Democrats, Ku Klux Klan. Who do the Democrats favor right now? All the unions, right? They're all unionized with the Democrats. So the Knights Union still exists. They just keep changing the name so they can confound people, and they can't tie this to the history of the onslaught of what the Knights Union of the Ku Klux Klan had done to business coward Republicans during the late 1800s, early 1900s, enforcing their way in with their unions. But so we understand that they support the unions, they support Planned Parenthood, they support abortion, they support segregation. They support community segregation, keeping like blacks in one community, whites in the other. We know the Democrats dominate the black communities across this nation in the Democratic-controlled ghettos in cities and districts, right? You see, so all these are... Now, if they flipped with FDR, it would be the opposite. It would be Republicans, right? Republicans should be supporting the Planned Parenthood. They should be supporting large government. They should be supporting abortion. They should be supporting segregation. They should be supporting unions. But Republicans don't, because that's not Republican values, because we understand the truth of history. Now, the Democrats today still support these very values, right? And so I'm just saying, like FDR, they tried to say because he gave them welfare. Ooh, he switched. But no, welfare was to trap them into the inner city Democratic-controlled ghettos. Okay, and they fell for it. The black Americans fell for it like suckers. Obviously, they're suckers. Look at this right here. This woman's a perfect example of how ignorant of Iraq affirmative action suckers are. Look at her. Look at her. And look at the evidence and the things I'm telling you right now, and then realize how ignorant and stupid this woman is. But anyway, we'll go back to what I'm saying here. When we look and we say, did the party switch during Lyndon B. Johnson? Well, if it switched during FDR, by the time we're at Lyndon B. Johnson, it has to still be switched, right? And I can prove by Lyndon B. Johnson's own word, what's his recording of this, and this is actual transcript of the conversation. He says, listen to this, and I'm pretty sure you can see it right here. Let me zoom in on this so you can see it real clear. Let's see if I can get this to zoom in, and we can see this real clear. If I can do it, I guess I can't zoom in while I'm active on this. Let's try that way. No, yeah, here we go. I'm getting it. Okay, I want to zoom in so you can see this clear. Okay, he says, these Negroes, they're getting pretty uppity these days, and that's a problem for us. Since they got something now they never had before, the political bull to back up their uppityness. Now, mind you, this is the Democratic so-called civil rights hero of the black people in 1965. Right? Just understand. Best friends with Robert Byrd, the Klanman from Virginia, and, well, known Klan member out of Texas himself. So now we've got to do something about this. We've got to give them a little something, just enough to quiet them down, not enough to make a difference. For if we don't move at all, then their allies will line up against us, and there'll be no way of stopping them. We'll lose the filibuster. There'll be no way of putting a break on all sorts of wild legislation. It'll be Reconstruction all over again. So, he is speaking, the Democratic president in 1965, Lyndon B. Johnson, to that of the Democratic administration. So in 1965, this is the view of all the Democrats in 1965, which, mind you as well, was Robert Byrd, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton would have been a young person at that time, very, very young girl. But she was also a part of the segregation as a young girl. Like, they had this thing that used to be like the Brownies or the Girl Scouts that were segregationist little girls team thing that she was a part of that agreed with segregating black and white schools and what have you, even as a young child. So she was being indoctrinated as a Klan girl as a little kid, and so was Bill Clinton. But right here, now, to the point what I'm getting to here. So Lyndon B. Johnson and the Democrats say these Negroes, they're getting pretty uppity these days, and that's a problem for us. Obviously, he's talking about the Democrats, right? Now, and it says here, they've got something now they've never had before, the political bull to back up their uppiness. Now we, who he means the Democrats, got to give them something about, we got to do something about this. We've got to give them a little something, just enough to quiet them down, not enough to make a difference. So meaning they're just going to give you a little bit more welfare, a little bit of housing expense, keep you locked in the ghetto with very minimal effort on your part, but not really to make a difference. To what their plan is would be to lock you, trap you into a segregated ghetto where they can control you and put a Planned Parenthood outside and slowly exterminate you. Because that's what they want to do to the black people. And now, you see, now I'm going to show you where the party switch is a fact. It never happened here. Because he says, not enough to make a difference, right? For if we don't move at all, then their allies will line up against us. Now I got to ask you, who do you think their allies are? Who could the Democratic president, speaking to the Democratic administration about this, be talking about as being the Negroes' ally? Who? There's only one other party, the Republicans. And we know it's the Republicans. You know why? We know it's the Republicans. If we don't move at all, then they'll have their allies line up against us, and there'll be no way of stopping them. We'll lose the filibuster. There'll be no way of putting a break on all sorts of wild legislation. It'll be Reconstruction all over again. It was the Republicans who initiated Reconstruction and the Democrats who opposed it. See, so again, there's two verifications there. One, he's the Democratic president speaking to the Democratic administration in 1965. So obviously, up to this point, there is no party switch. The Democrats are still the same racist, no-good scumbags they've always been. That's pretty self-evident right here. He's speaking about the Allies. There's only one other political party. That's the Republicans. So he himself, Lyndon B. Johnson, the Democratic president of 1965, is admitting that the black Americans' ally is the Republicans. So the party switch thing of Lyndon B. Johnson is thrown out the window with this. And if it doesn't exist in 1965, it clearly didn't establish with FDR back in 1934. I mean, common sense, right? Common sense. So I'm just saying, don't buy the bullshit of what these people are trying to tell you. The facts are pretty clear here, and I can lay out the facts. I know this stuff. I know it's like the back of my hand I know this stuff. Because I'm an American. I need to know my history. I need to know who my enemies are. Because I care about my children and my grandchildren for real. And I want to make sure they have the freedom, liberty, and the constitutional rights I was so blessed with by the men and women of our military who secured it for me when I was born. And it's my duty and my obligation, as well as all Americans' duty and obligation, to ensure that the posterity of this nation has the same constitutional protections and safeguards as what we had, that it was handed off to us, that tens of thousands of men and women gave their goddamn life to see that we had. Bunch of friggin' cowards in this country going to let this country slip away and let the posterity, our children and grandchildren, have to suffer the fate of this kind of disgrace. Are you kidding me? We need to wake up, America, and get real about this. I'm sick of this. And when you watch these people, it's just even more pathetic. I'm so sick of this. Been watching this shit for 50 years now with these fake, no good friggin' script reading, goddamn educated friggin' affirmative action idiots like this friggin' fool and the rest of these racist goddamn Democrats who put them up there like goddamn little tambourine friggin' monkeys in a goddamn circus. Look at this. This is disgraceful. This is disgraceful. And I guarantee you right now, true black American conservatives, they see this, it turns their goddamn stomach watching this. Because they're smart. You look at somebody like Candace Owens. Candace Owens knows what I'm talking about. She's an American. She gets it. It's not about black or white. She understands that. She understands the truth of the history. She used to be a Democrat, but she wised up. She went and did the due diligence to understand the facts. And now she understands her place as an American. But this idiot obviously hasn't. And people are just so ignorant to go along with this. White, black, Spanish, immigrants, whatever. Even the immigrants right now. These people do all they can to divide this country and keep us at each other's throat. Black and white people, they got some racial issues fighting. Spanish people, they got Spanish and white and blacks fighting. They got immigrants now fighting with legal and illegal immigrants are fighting with each other in this country. Then riots, the looting, you name it, it's going on. You know, and it's just disgraceful because it's all being manufactured and incited by that of the Democrats. And the whole time while they're doing this, while they're manufacturing all these social divisive issues and civil upset, and I mean literally like they were hunting cops not that long ago, right? They were opposing wanting to defund the police, these people. It's just incredible. The inside's like the Twilight Zone. And yet now they want to act as if they take the higher moral ground by putting an obviously affirmative action idiot up here to read her little script like some high school girl reading a goddamn book report, trying to act as this reminds me of a high school girl like I want to try and convince everybody I'm telling you the truth, and like her when she gets her moments where she, and I'm so angry about it. I'm like that little girl. I'm so angry about it. Like trying to act like it's real anger. I mean, really, you want to see real anger? I got real freaking anger because my grandchildren are at threat right now because of these goddamn idiots playing this game like this. The whole nation's at threat. Do you know what these people make us look like to other world countries, not to mention our enemies, how weak we look right now? I'm surprised right now that we don't have the Islamic Muslims in China being like, oh, let's just arm up and go in and take them. They're a bunch of pussies. Look at how stupid they are. You know, because this is what we look like. This makes us look weak. This makes us look so freaking weak and disgraceful to the world. It's a disgrace. These people are a disgrace to the whole founding of this country, these damn Democrats. And as well, so are you goddamn Republicans. I'll tell you one thing. I like Marcellus Cassius Clay, and I'm not talking about Muhammad Ali. Every time I say that, people are like, what do you mean? Muhammad Ali? What you got to do with this? Muhammad Ali was named after Marcellus Cassius Clay, you bunch of freaking idiots. Marcellus Cassius Clay was a great Kentucky Republican, an abolitionist. He was good friends with Abraham Lincoln. He was the ambassador to Russia back in the time of the Civil War. Go read up on him. That's a true Republican, if you want an idea. Unlike you coward-ass Republicans, you call yourself Republicans today. Bunch of complicit, goddamn silent cowards is what you all are. Soft-skinned business people who just sit complicitly quiet. Oh, don't start nothing. Oh, they'll beat us up. Freaking cowards. I'll tell you, it's disgraceful, this country, what it's come to. Just disgraceful. Freedom ain't free, baby. I'll tell you that right now. People better get a set of balls under them and start doing something, because we don't, we're going to lose our goddamn nation and our republic over a bunch of stupid idiots like this woman right here and the stupid political establishment.
First and second in line to the presidency were performing their constitutional duties.
Let me tell you something. This is what I got to say. Everything I'm doing is verbatim right now. It's just off the top of my head because I really feel this way. Okay? This is really upsetting me because I'm sick of the games. I'm sick of the scripted bullshit. I'm sick of these fake goddamn politicians and talking heads. I'm just so sick of it. Donald Trump was refreshing for one thing in 4 years. He was just really Donald Trump. And he said what he said as a normal human being off his hip. He didn't need a script. And that was relaxing. That was comfortable to have somebody real. That's what was the big allure to Donald Trump, was he was just real. He wasn't trying to be somebody he's not. He was just being who he's always been all his life, and he was saying exactly what he thought and felt. There was no script and no bullshit with him. It was real. These people are nothing but, like this woman here. Do you really think when she gets home she talks like this to her kids? Let me say, what do we want to have? Let me read the script. What do you want to have for dinner tonight? And mommy's gonna, oh, I'm gonna cook for you. Do you think she acts like that at home with her little skit that she's got going here? Do you think that's real? That's her real personality? That ain't her real personality. I'll tell you what, away from the little script she's got, I guarantee this woman right here is probably up there in line with like Hank Johnson. You know who Hank Johnson is, right? Representative out of Georgia, the guy who was worried about Guam capsizing. Let me show you a good example of how what affirmative action educated idiot is. I'll give you a good example of what I'm talking about so you understand, so nobody gets confused. Let me find this. Hank Johnson. Here we go. This is Hank Johnson, representative out of Georgia, senator.
Island that at its...
Well, let's watch this for entertainment reasons for a moment. Just watch this.
Is what, 12 miles from shore to shore, and at its smallest level...
It's talking about Guam,
smallest,
an island. Guam, we own it. It's territory of ours. In case you're not aware, military base, island.
7 miles between one shore and the other. Is that correct?
I don't have the exact dimensions, but to your point, sir, I think Guam is a small island.
Very small island, and about 24 miles, if I recall, long.
The funny thing, I'm just going to pause here. The funny thing, this guy here, he tries to act like he's so educated, you know, and he wants to show that he has good information on this island. He knows the width of this island in miles, the length of this island in miles. He doesn't know the square miles. We're about to find that out. But just to remind you, too, in this time here, not shortly after, Hank Johnson had a drug problem, they found out. I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was found in a hotel with a hooker and crack and had to go to Betty Ford Clinic on the American people. We had to pay for this affirmative action, goddamn idiot. But another thing to remember, too, is just mind you, this guy was a federal appeals judge before he became a congressman. And he was actually working high-profile organized crime appeal cases in federal court. So just keep that in mind. This guy was a judge doing rulings on high-profile federal court cases in big organized crime cases, okay? If you don't realize what they're doing, put it this way. The mob guys could offer billions or a couple $1 million to somebody, and then they could get Hank Johnson, obviously, to get the case and get him to do what they wanted to do to make sure that they got their money's worth. You know what I'm saying? It's just idiocy, affirmative action idiot right here. This guy supposedly, from what I could find public record, is rumored, they say rumored because they hide it now, it's sealed record. He failed the bar like 3 times. We don't know if he's ever actually even passed the bar. But because affirmative action, of course, they gave it to him. They just gave it to him. Just so you know, this is the history I found out about Hank Johnson. But now let's go back and listen to Hank Johnson finish about his concerns that he called in the admiral from the Navy of his concerns for Guam.
So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that. The Guam population, I think, currently about 175,000, and again, with 8,000 Marines and their families, it's an addition of about 25,000 more into the population.
The whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
So I just wanted to give an example of what I mean by a paper-praying affirmative action idiot. Right there. There you go. And now I'm going to show you another example, would be this one right here that we're seeing right here. Here's another one. See, this is a modern-day paper-brain affirmative action attorney-educated idiot. Right here. Another one. See? You understand? You understand what I'm saying now, right? You know, it's not really because she's black. It's just because there's stupid white people like this too. Look at Donna the deer sign lady if you want to see. It doesn't matter really on skin color. It's not a color issue. This is just idiocy of people with the indoctrination they have. She has been selected to be this in the Democratic Party because obviously she's pretty duh, and they know they can control her. And when you see her up here and she's trying to act so educated and so aware, and she's done her little book report all nice and neat and everything, and she's trying to play off in her little acting. She's really a bad actor. She'd have never made it as an actor. I mean, this is more like watching a high school kid do their book report up on the stage in front of a bunch of people real nervous. It's ridiculous. But like I'm saying, now, you would have to wonder, no, she could do all the research to put this little book report together, but she's never picked up a history book, obviously, to find out the party she's representing with and associated to in the Democrats. What an idiot. But, you know, I'm upset because, you know what? These idiots are really the threat to that of the posterity. And that posterity's my kids, my grandkids, your grandkids, and all the future Americans. Right now, our entire republic and everything in this nation is at threat because of these idiots. And what these people right now are in so much denial of, which is a fact, let me tell you, what the real problem is, it's not the American people who stormed Washington. It's not the American people on January 6th stormed all the capitals around this country, because that's what they were. They weren't insurrectionists. They were American people. They were a disgusted, fed-up American, big group, massive, over 2 million estimated across the country, of American people who, when they heard the person who's responsible for this is Mike Pence, because for months I heard in online and Twitter and Facebook and all the social medias for months before this happened, everybody was listening to the election thing, what happened. Everybody knew in November. And by the time of where we were coming up to the time to certify the votes, this nation was clearly pretty divided. You know, there was like, you know, right in half, you know, 70, 80 million people on both sides, one way or the other, didn't trust the other side and didn't agree with it. So we have a nation divided. What everybody assumed would be the appropriate thing to do, which could have been an option, though right now a lot of people say, well, Mike Pence couldn't have done that. Oh, Mike Pence couldn't have done that. That's not by the rules. Let me tell you something. Nothing that's being done right now is by the rules. It's all in violation of the rules. And if Mike Pence would have done the right thing, he could have avoided all of this. But Mike Pence is a rhino himself. He used to be a Democrat in Indiana. I didn't trust Mike Pence. You go back to the night that Trump announced they picked Mike Pence on my Facebook page, you will see me up there ranting and raving like I am right now till almost 12 o'clock at night, because I knew the guy was a goddamn rhino. And there's evidence of people from his high school that have said, and you don't see this in the public because, boy, they buried that shit deep. I tried to find it. They buried that shit. They took it off the web. Where there was a high school kid that went to high school with him said in his younger days, he was in the Ku Klux Klan in Indiana. I'm not making this shit up. This is what they said. Okay, now I can't prove that because there was an actual thing that was done back when he was running for governor or government in Indiana as a senator, and he was looking for greener pastures up in the higher ranks of what he was going to go for president. Okay, and it was back in the day he withdrew from that high school kids' comments about him being in the Ku Klux Klan in Indiana. But that story's been pulled. I can't find that damn thing anywhere on the web. But I remember it from back. I remember reading that back in the 90s, late 90s, about Mike Pence. But anyway, so I ranted and raved the night that Trump picked him because I knew. Okay, but anyway, people across this country knew Mike Pence had the option. What he could have done and what he should have done and recognizing the divisive situation of this nation and the risk of what it obviously stood to a point that a near civil war was going to break out, because they're trying to make this all about Washington and what Trump did in Washington. Let me tell you something. People stormed the capitals across this country in every state, ready to remove this government across every state, and they would have done it had it not been from Trump telling people to stop. Trump telling people, stand down, don't do this. Trump's the guy who quailed everybody down, because people weren't going to listen to Trump. They were going to do it anyway. They had it. People have had it across this country. The American people have had it with this corrupt, complicit, goddamn, treasonous, worthless piece of shit government that we got that is doing nothing but making fools of this nation and all the American people with the idiocy, shit show of a goddamn joke that they got going on with this government. It's just disgraceful. And the people have had it. And on January 6th, across this nation, they rose up against all the capitals across this nation, ready to rip the goddamn government out, hoping that the military, and then align with the military to temporarily replace a new government, because we knew, and this is the conversation that's been going on for months, they knew this would be the only way to ensure that we would remove the corruption, is to totally break down and remove the entire establishment of government we have now, and then temporarily replace them until we can get things in order to where we know we'll be safe going forward, and we know that we got all the corruption removed out and all new people placed in where we know there's no complicity with any kind of corruption. That's what the American people were talking about for months before this happened. And it was all over the country. I mean, I'm sure the FBI was aware of it, the CIA was aware of it. You couldn't miss it. Any forum you went to, that's what people were talking about. They recognized the truth of it. And they were saying that Mike Pence knew with this situation what he could have done, and people figured, okay, if he does this, which why, I'll tell you why he didn't. I'll tell you why he didn't. I'll tell you why he didn't do it in a minute. But he could have said, look, with the division in this nation right now, with the American people so divided, I can't rightfully certify this election, and I'm going to hand it off to the Senate for a re-election. That's what all the American people were thinking he was going to do, hoping he was going to do. I'll be honest with you. You go back and look at my comments before. I said, I don't trust this guy's going to do it. He's a freaking rhino. And what he wants is what the Democrats want. They want to see this nation destroyed. They're the enemies within. They've always been the enemies. Not this idiot Democrat. She's just a puppet in the play. She's just an ignorant fool, a rockhead, a dud-to-dud like Hank Johnson, an educated paper brain, affirmative action freaking idiot. She's in a frontliner. She's just a puppet they use up here in the front. She's like their little cymbal monkey that they just put out there in the front that claps the cymbals and gets everybody's attention attracted over here, watch over here, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Idiots. Nancy Pelosi, same thing. Chuck Schumer, same thing. These guys are all, they got the little tambourines and clapping over here, watch over here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, because the man behind the curtain is China, foreign interests, big totalitarian regimes around the world who are looking to overthrow this government from within and have been infiltrating this country from within right now through the Democratic Party for the last really strong 2 decades and in truth the last 50 years. Okay? And right now it's at a dangerous state right now with a position of national security, in my opinion, because what's about to happen soon, if we continue to allow this to go on, is going to be very dangerous to the existence of our constitutional free republic, in my opinion. And history repeats itself, and I know history pretty goddamn good. I'm not liking what I see coming if we the people don't do something and take in our place to get this shit under control with this idiocy going on right now. And I'm just kicking it with you real. But I'm just trying to tell you, the reality is the reality, people. We got to wake up. Mike Pence could have done that. And then if he would have handed that off to the Senate like everybody was hoping he would have done, people that day would have went home. We would have had a fair and clear, fully observed and watched carefully election with the Senate. And in the end, whatever the Senate decided, everybody would have had to peacefully accept that outcome, right? Because there would have been no denying it. Would have been under strict scrutiny. Everybody would have been watching it like a hawk to know for a fact everything went as it was supposed to go. Because what would have happened is, you see, the senators, right, they have to do with the will of the people. And the senators would have went to the representatives of each state and said to them, you go back to your district, what do your people want me to do? And each state in the districts would have went, this is what they're supposed to do. This is how it's supposed to work. The representatives would have came back to the districts, asked the people. Each district would have had its own kind of vote of a majority, and then accumulated that to a state position and handed that off to the Senate to say this is what the state wants to do. And the Senate would have came back and voted in favor of what the people of that state wanted to do. And we would have wound up having a complete re-election that would have been under the scrutiny and watch of the American people's eyes. And the American people would have been taking direct part in with the representatives handing off to the senators to going back to Washington to do the vote. We would have actually known that this is not going to be corrupt. We would have been a watchful eye, and it could have been resolved. And right now we wouldn't be having this affirmative action goddamn idiot up here and all this shit show going on, because things would have been legit and we would still be a republic. And it would have turned out like it should have turned out. But it didn't. Because Mike Pence, I'll tell you what, I was in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, and I'm going to tell you what happened. They had screens up all over the place. People were watching Mike Pence. They were watching him debate about the votes. They had speakers up where people could hear this all around the Capitol. And people were all gathered in big groups all around these speakers listening to what was going on the floor with Mike Pence. When Mike Pence announced that he was going to recommend for 6 days review of the evidence, that's what set people off. That was what set people off. People got pissed. That's when I seen people slam their freaking cameras and phones to the ground. They were so pissed when they heard that, because they realized they came all the way out to Washington, D.C., from all across this country, near 1 million people, to be told to go home and we'll let you know what we're going to do behind your back when we decide to do it. No, people were not having it. They were pissed off. And they wanted to go in there, and as you see from this lady right here, they wanted to go in there and confront Congress. They wanted to go in there because they had it. Because you know what? This lady doesn't tell you. And she thinks that everybody's as stupid as she is. Well, really, she doesn't even know. This is a clueless ditchball right here. But let me tell you, the American people are fully aware of the long train of abuses and corruption and treason going on with this government, and both Democrat and Republican, and the complicitness between them both. And it's gone on long enough, and it's now a national threat to our nation and our republic and our children and our grandchildren. And it's to a point that obviously has reached a breaking point, which it should have never have gotten this far out of control. And the American people know it. They know it. And they wanted to go in and they wanted to face their government to their face and tell them what they think of them. And they wanted to definitely face Mike Pence and make sure he understands we're no longer tolerating this treason, this kind of bullshit. I honestly believe that no matter what the situation, that the anger of the American people is legitimized. It's factual, off of factual evidence of corruption that no one can deny, and treasonal acts, when you consider the fact that in the last 20 years, over 5,000 Americans have been killed right here on American ground by our known and declared long-established enemies of the foreign totalitarian Islamic regimes. Foreign interest has been influenced out of education. Our posterity in the United States have been being dumbed down, confounded in their sexuality and their gender to the point they don't even know how to identify. Our own flag now is considered disgraceful in our own country. People don't want to stand up and say the national anthem with respect anymore. They don't want the Pledge of Allegiance in school anymore. They don't want to talk about God anymore. So pretty much the Democrats stand for nothing American. They don't want nothing American, because I'll tell you what, the God's honest truth, they never were Americans. They're the Democratic Party. The Constitution only consents to that of a Republican form of government. We are a republic. We're not a democracy. We're not a democratic democracy. We're a constitutional republic. And there's a big difference. And I said this in other videos. If you want to know the difference, go read the Federalist Letter number 10 by James Madison, who explains the difference between a democracy and a republic pretty damn clear. And it makes it clear that America is not a democracy. Okay? And these people keep saying it because they're just paper-brain educated idiots. I hear it all the time on the news. Our democracy is at threat. Oh, our democracy. Oh, we're not a democracy. We're a damn republic. Go read the Federalist Paper number 10 by James Madison. Everybody should know this stuff. Everybody should know this stuff. This should be common sense knowledge to any goddamn American, really. And if you don't know this stuff, you're a disgraceful American. Redeem yourself and go goddamn learn. Learn who you are and what your place is as an American. Because it's disgraceful right now how we look to the world, to how ignorant the American people are, buying all this idiocy. And you know how stupid this looks? This is God's honest truth. A couple weeks ago, I was talking with somebody online in chat from Russia. Oh my God, they're going to say now, oh, he's communicating with the Russians. Look, let me tell you something. One thing I do know about history too, why the Democrats don't like Russia? Russia has been an ally to America in every war we've been in. They were an ally with us in the Revolutionary War. They stopped France from coming in on the Revolutionary War, and they also stopped the Islamic Muslims from allying with Great Britain against us in the Revolutionary War, because Russia was allied with us. In the Civil War, the guy I was mentioning, Marcellus Cassius Clay, he was a diplomat for Russia. He was the guy who went over and dealt with Russia for us, appointed by Abraham Lincoln, and they were allied with us in the Civil War. And again, they prevented in the Civil War of Great Britain allying the pro-slavery Democrats in the Civil War are the Muslims, because they said if either one aided the Democrats in the Civil War of 1861, that Russia would come and they would aid the patriot Americans the same as they did in the Revolutionary War. Russia was allied with us in World War I. Russia was allied with us in World War II. I'm just saying. You know, and the Democrats don't like it because every time Russia allied it with us, they threw a stump in their plans to overthrow us or have us overthrown by that of their complicitness with foreign known and declared enemies. This is a fact, people. But you know who the Democrats are allied with, right? Our enemies, the totalitarian Islamic states, who the first 4 administrations of this nation condemned and made clear that they were the enemies of the United States and the American people, as well as communist China. Okay? That's who. But look who they're allies with, and look who they're not. They don't like, the Democrats don't like Israel. They don't like India. They don't like Russia, and they don't like. The Democrats helped Iran get over. You know, Iran used to be mini America. They had a constitution verbatim to the United States before 1978. They were known as mini America. Iran used to be our ally in 1978. Amazing how many dummy Americans don't even know that. Yeah, Iran was our ally before 1978. It was after 1978 that Jimmy Carter, Democrat Jimmy Carter, did nothing to aid and assist our then allied, because the Muslims came in and invaded them and overthrew them, and we, under Democratic administration, failed to assist our ally and protect them, and they got overthrown by the Muslims, and now they're a totalitarian regime of the Islamic States and our enemy, right? There you go. That's what the Democrats do. Okay? This is just reality, what I'm telling you about history and the facts, people. We need to wake up. But this woman right here and all this government right now, what they need to wake up to, the reality is this. The government itself is not taking accountability for what they have done. What they have done. And their responsibility in this. They're not taking accountability for it. And it needs, that's who the real fault of this whole thing is the government. The government is failing, has been failing. In the last 20 years, it has failed more great than ever before in the history of this nation. The Republicans have failed greatly because they're nothing but a bunch of complicit goddamn cowards. Worthless goddamn cowards is what we got in this government. From everything from the federal level down to the state level, down to the county and city level. Outside of, thank God, in Florida, we actually have somebody with balls as our governor. And there's a couple good people. There's a minority of good, strong government that are Republican, that are good conservative values. But the majority of them are a bunch of complicit, no good, worthless rhinos. Disgraceful cowards is what they are. And our nation's in real trouble. We continue to let this stuff go on. But I'm sick of sitting and watching these puppet scripted things and watch our nation getting torn apart by the idiocy that we're seeing with the media and the government controlling the agenda and the whole propagated bullshit story that they're pitching out right now across the airways. They're making us look like fools because you know what? People in the world see it. They see the truth. They know what's going on. They're not fooling the people of the world. Okay? And, they're not fooling those of Americans like me who know their history and know the truth about the what's going on here. They're not fooling me. That's for damn sure. But that's what I want to say, and, you watched the video. Thank you very much for your time. You can give your input and comments below. If you do the due diligence on things and you find out what I'm saying is the truth, and you want to comment and get angry and frustrated about it, comment below. Let's get it. And you know what I think we need to do? We need to unify as the people. We need to unify as the American people and get ourselves in position to do something about this real. We cannot continue to allow this shit show circus to continue on with these people and the shit show that they're putting on. This is a disgrace to our nation, our Constitution, and our Republic. It's just disgraceful. It's at a point it's shamefully disgraceful. And that's my views and opinions on it. And thank you for your time.